on, Colin.
Yeah.
It's yours, bing bong.
What?
Mine goes bing bong.
Is it?
Yeah. That's why I say it's like Colin. Maybe when you join in, it just pings.
I think you can put it in the settings to do something like that. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I haven't touched any of them.
Oh, yeah, then. You're special, Bev.
I'm just basic me. As long as I get on there.
Oh. How are you all doing, guys?
Good.
All right.
You all right? There's Lisa now as well.
Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Oh, who's got the shoes on? Oh, Rachel's here.
Someone's singing.
Probably.
Yes, girls.
Here's the boss man.
How are we doing?
Hiya.
Hello.
Who's in the house? Let me see.
Hello.
Jackie's in. Sinead, look out. Susan.
Gavin.
Charlotte. Yeah, haven't seen her before.
Rachel, my little tiger. What's happening?
How are you, my love?
I'm all right. How are we all doing? Stefan as well. Look out.
I'm still tracking.
You're tracking here.
Yeah,
You still waiting for me to put you off my knee, are you?
I am.
That's going to be she's tracking.
Charlotte's in as well.
I've been telling her for 9 months to track. Gavin comes along, offers that, and she's tracking within 24 hours.
You need to know how to get going. That's all, so. What else are we waiting for?
Greg.
No, Greg's not coming tonight.
Giving him a night off, am I? What's happening?
Get into a part-time now.
Bloody hell. Part-time now, look. Any more coming in? Or do you want to get started, or what do you want to do?
Give it 1 more minute, shall we?
Okay. How's everyone feeling? Everyone good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to share about your day so far, guys, while we're waiting in case anyone else wants to join? No? Oh, don't you lot have gone shy.
I've done everything I'm supposed to today, nearly.
What's that, Bev?
I've done everything I'm supposed to.
Woo!
I'm just waiting for the veg to, my chef out the kitchen to finish my tea.
Yeah, those veggies in bed.
My own chef. He reckons he can go on Master Chef now, and I said, yeah, the thing is, you haven't got me to keep bringing you stuff.
Yeah, that you just be his sous chef.
Yeah.
Whatever they're called, I don't know.
I'm a KP, according to him.
I'm doing my Fancy Peppers live tomorrow around 4:30 if you want to.
All right. Josie does rave about them.
They're deadly, Bev. They're deadly. Charlotte's going to get a look at them tomorrow as well.
Is that
By
your
request from Charlotte.
You should do a cook along, Gav.
What's that?
You should do a cook along.
I did the other day.
He did.
Who was saying that?
Rachel? I think.
Rachel. I did the other day. I'll do another one. I'll do another one tomorrow.
Okay.
4:30. I'll get the ingredients ready. I'll do it live so you can see it going in the oven and stuff. So it's easy to do. It takes about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes.
Yep,
I'll show you.
Josie.
I'm sure I'm having. It's simple, but it's really tasty. So.
Right then.
Oh,
got two more tuning in.
Yeah, we've got the bosses tonight.
Oh,
Look out.
No pressure.
No.
Daddy's here tonight. Is that Josie as well? Josie in?
Josie's in.
Oh, she's going around.
Hey,
Hi,
Josie.
Josie.
Hello.
hello.
Hi, Josie. Hello.
Right then.
Right then. So you want to kick this off? You lead this for me, so and
Yeah.
deep I can go and how much you want to go into.
Yeah, no worries. I'll just pop everyone on mute. And then we'll get going.
She shuts us all up.
I'll shut you up, Bev.
Hope you try to do that.
Right then. Right, that's everyone sorted now. Cool then. So yeah, the focus of today, guys, was vegetables, and today's challenge, I gave you a target which I wanted to hit, which was 500 grams of vegetables. How has everyone got on with that so far? Has anyone struggled, found it easy? Anything you want to share? No? Again, you're all shy tonight, please no.
How do they tap into this then? Do they tap the screen and ask you if they want to speak?
Well, they can press the space bar, or they wave and I just unmute them.
Right, okay.
Often you'll see Sinead going like that at the camera. So we gave you that target, and what sort of, why do we want you to eat vegetables as part of diet and sort of encourage you to have a minimum amount? Well, like I say, the goal of this challenge over the 30 days is to build habits which help your general health and well-being, basically, guys. So especially with everything's going on at the moment. But then these are also habits that can help you when you're working towards other goals as well, whether it be fat loss, muscle gain, that sort of thing. So like the main reason why we want you to eat a lot of plant-based foods is just for, not just for the calories or anything like that, or because you're supposed to, it's what you get from them. So, you get lots of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytochemicals, all these big fancy words from these types of food. And what do they mean? Well, they basically, these things help our body function. And the list is endless in terms of what it can benefit. So, in terms of, we talked about protein, carbs and fats over the last few days. A lot of the vitamins and minerals we get from food, from the plant-based foods, helps us break down, metabolize and digest those sort of things so that we can then tap into them and use them for energy. And as well, it just helps with a lot of, or prevent, I should say, a lot of potential health issues. So it can help with stuff like blood pressure, heart disease. It can help reduce the risk of some forms of cancer. And I say, like I say, the list goes on with the sort of benefits of having these foods as a staple as part of our diet. And sort of another key thing as well is getting good variety with them as well. So eating all the different colours. So you've got your greens, reds, purples, blues, I think, all stuff like that. Precision nutrition, if you want to look at more, talks a lot about like eating the rainbow, they sort of call it, because each different type or colour of these sort of foods, these vegetables, gives us different things as well. So don't be afraid to try new things and get a bit of variety into your diet. Anything you want to sort of add on to that, Gav, in terms of that overview?
Yeah, like I made some notes because I went through the list of what you wanted to cover in terms of that. So like obviously the main ones like your satiety and your gut health, that's the main common ones that people look at vegetables with. Like I know, let me just mute that one. I know we did the challenge in my group, and I think quite a few people that did it. I know Bev did it, Josie did it really well, but we went for 1 kilo. And I'll go into the numbers in a second in terms of like the amounts per day you should be hitting. Mm-hmm. And then when you start to look at that sequentially from sort of diseases, there's actually studies, especially out of Denmark and Aarhus in Denmark, where they've actually looked at like the percentages on how much you eat per day compared to what you would sort of health-wise be beneficial from, Mm-hmm. So we'll go into that in a second. But in terms of the kilo I went with, like that's optimal, right? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean you're going to be hitting that from day one. Some people are going to gradually get up to that, but there's also looking at ways where you can get that kilo in similar ways. Like, and I always wake up with a green smoothie every day, so I might actually live one of those so you can see how long it takes, or just see what I put into it. But we'll wake up every morning, like sometimes the kids will be like, I don't want one today, but they'll end up having one, and we'll put some bananas in there and stuff, but to make it a little bit tastier. But we'll basically juice a cucumber, maybe 1 to 2 cucumbers, depending on how many we're making, 4 to 5 sticks of celery, around half a lemon. So you can see just we're juicing that along. And then sometimes I'll put some of the fiber from there that is from the juicer back in. And then from there, we'll use that juice. Sometimes if I want a longer drink, I'll put some coconut water in. And then we'll put things like spinach, frozen mango, or pineapple. So I'll put some of those in. I put in, I juice some ginger in there as well. And I'll put like turmeric, which is like, I'll use the actual I won't put powdered turmeric in. I'll put in actual turmeric. So, and you have to look at, like, sometimes people look at the studies on turmeric. It's not very good. Okay, but you have to look at where that study's coming from and what they're using from that. So they actually don't use, some of the studies I've read don't use the whole turmeric. It's like the turmeric powder, and they're not using the oils with it. So if you're putting something whole in, especially if you like the knob of turmeric in it, like the whatever you cut off, the oils from the turmeric help you absorb that better. So that's why I use a whole thing of turmeric. So I'm blending all that up, and I just go to town, and I do put some like creatine in there as well. It's salt powder, but that's one way I hit a shed load of veggies in first thing. So that's topped up. That's straight away first thing in the morning with my protein that I have for breakfast. It could be eggs, it could be beef, whatever I'm having. But straight away, I've done like 250 grams of veggies straight out. So in my 1 kilo challenge, it was like veggies, berries, and fruits. So I used that in that order. So like veggies was like a good 3/4 of the consumption of what I wanted per day. So it was like 600 to 750 grams of veggies per day. And then the rest made up of berries and fruits. But berries was next priority, and then fruits was last priority. Does that make sense, though?
Yeah, and just leading off that a little bit, like we talked about the other night, like when we talked about protein and simple ways getting your protein in, like you can create some form of like super shake as well. So like I was listening to a podcast recently with Luke Lehman, and it's like, yeah, if you want to get more protein in, are you struggling with that? And don't just do the 2 scoops with some water, because that's just bland and boring, and you don't get much from that. Make your shake like a meal. So I used to go through a phase of that, because I wasn't a big fan of breakfast usually, because I don't want to eat till like 5 or 4 in the morning, whatever time it is I get up. So I just used to do like loads of spinach, protein powder, blend it up, and then like I say, it's a quick and easy, convenient way of getting it in, isn't it?
Simple. So now you got your vanilla, or you could have a chocolate like shake in the morning if you wanted to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you got the flavor of that, which takes the emphasis off the veggies flavor, and now you got your protein and veggies in one meal. So that's an easy way to do it. If people are struggling to hit their veggies and they're struggling to hit their protein, it's really, really simple.
Yeah.
You know, and then
don't want to eat anymore as well.
Exactly right. So, and if people don't get on with dairy too much, then you can just chuck some amino acids in there. And we'll go through some of this in a second, because I've made some notes on why amino acids are really important as well when we start to really break down, because I made some notes on like inflammation, which if you talk about inflammation, you have to talk about oxidative stress. And I'll try and sort of break this down so it's simple to understand as well, because they're going to be big words, and like it's biochemistry and all that type of stuff going on. But it's important to understand if you're looking to optimize your health and you're looking to dry veggies and all that type of stuff in, well, you're going to start to understand why they're important. That's the main thing, and it should be a no-brainer in why you're going to try and optimize these. Okay, so yeah. So the main thing I wanted to cover first, like the one thing that stood out to me was inflammation. Now, based off what Zoe and Greg have done already, what's the main thing that is going to drive inflammation up more than any other factor? Like I came in on the first call, and it was a great call. They've been doing a fantastic job with these habits, right? But the first call stuck out to me because it's, in my opinion, it's the most important one. And it's something we're all going through right now. And it's why I saying to Sam, we need these Zoom calls every night. We want you to be talking to us every night. It's because social isolation is going to drive up inflammation massively. It's been shown in studies. If you were on the call with Greg on the first call, there's study upon study to show inflammation will go up massively, driven by social isolation. So this is why we want to get this community together and show you're not on your own. We want you to come in as much as possible. So did somebody try and talk then?
No, Lana was just connecting, so I've just
Lana's in as well. Hello, Lana. So yeah, social isolation is one of the main drivers of inflammation. So now you've got a situation where there's inflammation that goes up, right? So is inflammation bad? Let's talk about that first. Inflammation isn't bad on its own. Chronic inflammation can be an issue, right? So the more inflamed somebody is, the more cortisol is going to go up, because cortisol will try and dampen that inflammation down. Now, if the more cortisol goes up, the more inflammation goes up. This is like a vicious cycle that happens, right? So I'm going to go through strategies on helping it in a second. But the other thing you have to talk about with inflammation is oxidative stress. Now, what do we do every day to try and burn calories and we try and sort of lose weight and things. We train. So movement is a great way to burn calories. But if you're looking at, think of oxidative stress, right? So the cells of the body, where your energy is made, that's where oxidative stress can start in the cells. So in the mitochondria where we need to make ATP, imagine like little furnaces burning the ADP, burning the energy, right? Imagine a little bonfire. So basically you're creating little bonfires. So a little bonfire, you're making s'mores out with your kids or your family and at the bonfire, or you're having a little barbecue. Under control, that's fine. But what if that bonfire gets out of control? You're gonna have a bit of a problem, right? So the bonfire there could be overtraining, inflammation. So all of these things are going to manifest themselves over time. Nutrient deficiencies. What happens when inflammation stays high, oxidative stress stays high? Well, now you've got a negative impact of sex hormones go down, thyroid hormones go down. All of these things manifest really, really badly, right? So energy production is going to go down. So you need things in place to help offset this inflammation. Number one, from oxidative stress, so you can keep the cells functioning really well, right? Inflammation can start to dampen itself as well, and you need to manage stress, right? So one thing we should all be in a routine of, and I haven't seen all these habits just yet, but sleep's going to be one of the best habits you can really focus on during this time. If you can maximize your sleep, you're going to have a fantastic time managing stress, inflammation. All of that stuff can start to help. So recovering from training, so you're not overtraining. So imagine those bonfires, you're training and training and training and training and training. You're just creating that bonfire to be a big one, right? So imagine you've gone out camping, you're making your s'mores and you fall asleep and all of a sudden the fire's caught and the woods are burning everywhere. That's overtraining, that's under recovering, right? So we need to look at factors that's going to help oxidative stress, which is helping the cells function and then helping decrease inflammation. Okay. So I'm going to put this out to you guys. Now we're talking about veggies. What do you think is going to help it? You tell me. We're talking about veggies. What type of veggies is going to help this? Can you bring somebody in?
Yeah, does anyone want to speak or get involved? Just wave if you want to be unmuted. Oh, they're really quiet tonight. Oh, Josie? Yeah, go on, Jose.
I don't know exactly what you mean, Gav. What do you mean exactly?
Which veggies are going to help? Because people sometimes misunderstand what veggies are. So we often get when we do our 21-day challenges and stuff, and they look through the manual, they go, "Can I eat this? Can I eat that?" And we're like, "Well, there's a big list of veggies there, and we need to understand what veggies are, right?"
Green vegetables.
Green vegetables, so cruciferous vegetables,
Yeah.
right? So you're talking like your broccoli, pak choi, cauliflower, all these things that are high fibrous, right? Berries like raspberries, blueberries, strawberries. Okay, so those things are really going to have, yes, they're going to have antioxidants in them, but you have to remember as well is we can eat them for sure. They're going to help with fiber and satiety and all that stuff. But what we have to understand is how our bodies have our own enzymes that actually produce antioxidants to quench all of these flames down. Our body can do that. But they're enzymes that are needed from these vegetables. So these enzymes can quench 10,000 to 100,000 free radicals every second. So our body's very, very capable of doing it on its own. But the body's enzymes need fuel from the veggies and berries and fruits and all this stuff. So if you're not taking in enough, those enzymes can't do their job enough. Does that make sense? So that's why we look at minimum, in my opinion, 600 grams minimum. And I'll go through some of the numbers in a second. But minimum 600 grams. I know Zoe started you off 500 grams today, but you want to start taking it up. Yeah, Zoe's nice. I'm a little bit more harsh. Go straight in for the kilo. I double that straight up. But your body can do it. So things like, I know Zoe's studying a lot of the biochemistry stuff at the moment, but things, especially within the mitochondria, the cells where we make energy, superoxide dismutase, glutathione peroxidase, those types of names, they got long names, but they won't be able to do their jobs enough because they need fuel from the veggies and the fruits, the vitamin C, the vitamin E, all those types of things that come in from fruits and vegetables. They support all the body's mechanisms to produce the antioxidants to help decrease the inflammation, decrease the oxidative stress, those things. And that's very important, especially when you're trying to lose weight and train, because the more veggies and fruits you're doing that you're bringing in now, well, the harder you can train because you're able to recover from that oxidative stress. Okay, so training is fantastic for it. Training's like bulletproofing your body. Imagine that oxidative stress, that fire, that heat. Training is like getting the fireproofing for your body. You're teaching it to adapt to that. But if it's chronically training, producing heat, and now you're not bringing in the vegetables and fruits and those things to help the enzymes quench it all, well, now you got an issue. Now you got inflammation, oxidative stress, and that's going to be part of the issue. So I think people underestimate that type of stuff, especially when you're looking at the body's mechanisms on how you can help that. Make sense, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what can we do? So if you're looking at 500 grams, that's good. I would say 600 grams of veggies and fruits per day. That's like, imagine you're swimming in the ocean and you've got your mouth and your nose just above the water. That's 600 grams a day. Right? So if you're 500 grams, you just got your mouth under and your nose is there. You can still breathe, but you want 600 grams, you want your mouth up there. And the more you get up to that kilo, then the water's around here and you're paddling fine. Okay, so now you've got a lot of nutrients coming into the body. Okay, so that's why I say a kilo. You know, if you look at the numbers, especially on the research now, Zoe came in with like health markers, like, so let's look at like the main ones that they've studied on it. Zoe mentioned cancers. You're looking at food-related cancers, the main one, when you're looking at these types of things. You've also got cardiovascular disease and like type 2 diabetes. So every 100 grams underneath 600 grams will increase your risk by 10%. That's based off like decades. That's based off like lifetimes. But if people get into habits of, I'll have this and that amount of veggies, and it's typically, if you look at the amounts, I think they did based off the studies in Denmark, they do around 350 grams a day. And 600 grams is keeping your mouth and nose above water. So even Denmark in there, and I know the UK are less than that. So that's why I'm like a kilo of veggies a day. Why do I say a kilo? Sometimes a kilo is like, you're never going to get it. But the closer you are to a kilo, you're probably going to get over 600. Right? So if I give you a kilo as a target and you miss it, you're probably going to hit around 600 to 700 anyway. Right? Because your focus is hitting that. So that's why I like the veggies and fruits one Zoe said today is like, it's an amazing one. Because it's going to do so much for you. Does that help, Zoe?
Yeah, and just for just coming back to like some of the stuff we talked about on the carbohydrate call the other night, guys, where I went through refined and unrefined sources. So what I said the main difference with those foods were, is like your refined carbohydrates, for example, were like your cakes, biscuits, confectionery, all that sort of stuff. What does that food give you? Calories, and that's pretty much it. And then like your unrefined sources, so your whole grain sources, your sweet potatoes, that sort of stuff, quinoa. What does that give you? It gives you all those antioxidants and phytochemicals and all that jazz. So yeah, it's looking at what food gives you more in terms of health rather than just what fits your calories and what fits your macros. So yeah, looking for like good food quality rather than quantity in terms of calories, which is why we wanted to do
for sure. Like how many, like, I know Bev tried it, Josie tried it, Steph tried it a little bit, I think, but he likes his biscuits in the afternoon. Let me just take a look at him on his call. He's going to be laughing at this one. Yeah, Steph likes his biscuits in the afternoon and all that. He's laughing at the same time. Like, there we go. So that's okay, right?
Come on, Steph.
That's okay. But to be honest, Steph's probably going to have more calories to play with in terms of what he can do, the amount of activity that he does a day. So obviously, the more activity you're going to get in, the more calories you can play with, right? But if you're looking at, now this is very genetic, but if you look at somebody that like gets more hungry or eats a plate of food and is still hungry after that plate of food, that's genetic. But if you're focusing on a kilo of veggies a day, and that's your main priority, for the people that tried that kilo of veggies a day, how hungry were you through the week? I know, Zoe, you tried it as well, right?
I did it, and I've never felt so full on 1,400 calories in all my life.
Right. So,
yeah,
like, if you're trying to lose weight, 1,400 calories typically is going to get you weight loss, regardless of what type of body shape you are or what type of weight loss target you have. Around 1,400 calories, you're going to do well. Unless you're really small and you're doing really low activity, then okay. Like, you're light anyway, you do no activity, you're small, like, you're probably gonna have to diet on like 1,200 calories. In that case, you need to dry veggies up because you're gonna be hungry, right? But if you're eating like Zoe ate 1,400 calories, and she was like, holy shit, this is a lot of food. Yeah, because like there's a lot of fiber in there, there's good nutrition in there.
mm-hmm.
I know some of the feedback from Josie was like her cravings for other foods went away. Right. So now you have a satiety thing where you're not looking for those other foods. Right. So there are mechanisms there where you manage blood sugar really, really well. And you don't need to go in genetics or all this type of stuff for this, but it's very, very simple. You start allowing messengers around the body, like the signals around the body, to start functioning better. So you're getting the signals sent to the cell receptors, and your blood sugar is much better. So you're not your blood sugar is not up and down. So you're getting hunger pangs and all this type of stuff. It's much easier. Okay. So that's why I think this is an amazing habit to really set in. And one, if you really focus on keeping afterwards, I really recommend you keep all of them if you can. But if there's one you want to keep in, it's like fruits and veggies for sure. Good.
Yeah, all good. I know, like, I know when I was messaging a few people when things kicked off, and I was changing that, I was giving them different targets, and one of the target I tried to introduce was the kilo of veg, and literally their reaction was like, "Are you joking?" And it's like, it's not as bad as you think, really. Yeah. But yeah, it's in terms of like that ratio. Well, the kilo, I said kilo of veg then, but it's kilo of fruit and veg. So just going back, what was the ideal ratio between veg and fruit? It was 750, 250, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to
like
definitely over 500 grams of veggies, like cruciferous. Yeah. And then, for example, let's say I aim for like, let me give you a rundown of my day and where I got I do around 250 grams of berries. Mm-hmm. That was in my yogurt post-workout. So instead of doing like a whey protein shake, I would do around 500 grams of yogurt. So that's of the Fahe yogurt thing. So that's like 50 grams of protein. And I'd probably put a scoop of the powdered greens, the chocolate flavored greens in there. So I was getting that chocolate flavor with the yogurt. And then I'd whack in like 200 to 300 grams of berries. So it'd be like raspberries, blueberries, strawberries. So I was getting my 300 grams of strawberries or berries there. I'd have around 500-600 grams of green cruciferous veggies. So in the morning I'd wake up, I'd probably do around 200 to 200 grams of the 5% organic beef mince from Sainsbury's. So I'd fry that up with some onions, but I would use like frozen green beans. So I fry those off with the onions, green beans, and what else would I put in there? Peas and things like that. And then I put the beef in there. But the other one, I would put in like eggs on top instead. So if I left the beef, I'd put I crack 5 eggs, I put that on top, put a little bit of water in, boom, lid goes on, and then you sort of like baste the eggs so they're still runny, and you put your veggies and eggs on your plate, and then bang, you got a nice little egg and veggies breakfast. So I was getting my protein there, but lots of veggies in the morning as well. A lot of people can't eat that type of thing in the morning. So if that's the case, I know Bev's shaking her head at the minute. She's like, no, I can't. Nobody's forcing you to eat beef or anything like that in the morning. But I love that type of thing in the morning. I know Sam would probably love that type of thing as well. But it can be an acquired time of day to eat that type of stuff. So if that's the case, then you go to things like Zoe said earlier on. Okay, let's make some green smoothies. So now get all your veggies in a smoothie. Let's whack in some good protein powder or some amino acids if you don't do well with dairy. And then bang, you got your shake, you got your veggies in. And then in the evening when I come home, I'd smash another load of veggies. That was my day. Like I kept it as simple as possible. I cut it all into three times a day. I'd maximize and obviously on top of that, I was getting my smoothie too. So I was probably doing over a kilo a day, but I had it in systematic phases where I knew what I was doing every part of the day. That makes sense.
Sometimes it's making that routine. Like I'm a stickler for numbers, so I literally look at all my calorie, my protein targets, and all that jazz, and divide them by my meals. So I know I have to have X amount at every meal.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like getting organized. Yeah, like I say, some people are not a geek like me, so that might seem a bit mind blowing. But if you are a bit of a geek for numbers, that's a really good way to get ahead of the games. Just have little targets for each meal, just so you know exactly what you need.
Yeah, and it's even things like without even counting calories. So some days you won't count calories. It's going to happen. So in terms of what I have in the fridge, if it's like a packet of mints, I know half a packet of mints is 200 grams. Okay, so 200 grams, that's around 50 grams of protein.
Yeah.
So let's say that's chicken. Okay, I'll still class that as around 50 grams of protein, but it's probably more. Right now, you look at all those enzymes that are needed in the body that we just talked about. All of those are essentially amino acids. So you're looking at making sure you hit your protein goal alongside your veggie goal as priority. So you've got your amino acids that help their enzymes. They help with the enzymes, but also the veggies help as the cofactors to help those enzymes do their job, to help decrease all of this inflammation, oxidative stress. So you're looking at all of those things when you're only counting calories. If you get into the habit of knowing the amounts of meat or fish you're going to use is roughly this amount of protein. If you're looking at 1 or 2 scoops of protein powder is going to give you X amount of protein, right? If you start to understand that as a baseline, you're going to do a much better job. That way you don't have to count those calories every time if you're stuck. If you can count it, fantastic. But if you're out and about, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this amount of protein is roughly this. So if I'm in the house and I'm cooking for the kids, I'm like, we're having this. In my head, I'm like, yeah, that's around 50 grams. Bang. It's half a packet of mints. Done. So it's getting in those habits. It's getting used to doing it over and over and over. It's repetition. At the moment, I'm teaching my kid how to play football in the garden. I've got a great opportunity to play with my son quite a lot. And I'm teaching him how to kick a ball properly. The amount of times I've kicked the ball today is insane. I've done over 150 kicks just again to do it over and over and over and over. It's the same thing with counting calories or looking at food. The more you do it and the more you start to understand it, the easier it gets. It's just repetition. But like Zoe's saying, if you need help with anything, we're always here for that. We're going to keep telling you the same thing until it sticks, but that's fine. It's okay.
I know when you start to talk about, you don't need to count calories, I was thinking, Jackie, close your ears.
Yeah. I'm telling her that just so I can put her over my knee. That's all.
She's only done 2 days. Don't let her off yet. But going back to like looking at those average, like how much protein you get per 100 grams. We have got a document, the SOS Nutrition Made Simple, which gives you guys a breakdown of how much protein, carb, fat you get per weight of food, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's like to get 20 grams of protein, you'd have 100 grams of poultry, fish, whatever your red meat, whatever it may be. So if anyone wants to have a look at that to help them out figuring out those numbers, give me a shout. I've got on my laptop. I can email that over to you. And just so you can start getting your head around those numbers a little bit, because once you break it down like that, it's so much easier, because all you got to do is weigh your food essentially.
Simple. Another way as well is like you got your hand portion sizes, but there was a good guy I heard talk about this. Is he uses a T plate. So a T plate is basically, imagine you got your circular plate, you got a line across half of it, and you've got another line that goes down. So you make a T within your plate, right? So the half of the plate where there's still half left at the top, so that's where your veggies go, right? And then in 1/4 of the plate, you put your protein and your healthy fats. And in the other quarter of the plate, you put your starches or your berries. Keep it simple. So if you're using a plate at home, half your plate should be full with different color veggies, or as many veggies as possible. In 1/4, you got your protein and your healthy fats. If you're using fatty meats like ribeye steak, I know I got ribeye steak coming this week, or chicken thighs or whatever, then your fats are in your meat. If you're using lean proteins like chicken breast, monkfish, cod, that type of thing, okay, then you can add a few like healthy fats like avocado, some olives, or whatever you fancy eating. And then your other side, you've got your lentils or your rice or your sweet potatoes, white potatoes, whatever. So you've got an easy way to look and structure your plate. Think of a T. Okay, so males, you've got testosterone. So that's the way he tries to put it for males. And then females, the way he tries to do it for females, because he likes, obviously, you got to keep your gender thing, male and female, we're all equality. So this is getting a little bit thing, but collagen helps with gravity, let's say. So collagen, so the more fruits and vegetables you have, helps collagen, so it helps keep things lifted. Let's put it that way.
Susan,
and then males.
out the gutter.
Pardon?
Susan's laughing away there. I said, take your mind out the gutter.
Yeah, that's the nice way, but like you don't want to hear how he put it. So you imagine what you can imagine what the T stood for, right? But you have a look at a male. The way you explain it for a male is like imagine most males, they want to eat meat, right? You say you got to eat all your veggies, and they're like, no, I'll just have some meat. I'll have a couple of beers or whatever. But then you say, well, why don't you eat vegetables? And they be thinking things like, well, it's rabbit food, right? So yeah, so that's what a lot of males say. It's rabbit food. Okay. What do you associate the habits of rabbits? What do rabbits really do? Think about it.
Make babies.
Make babies. That's the one. Bev came in. She's well at it. Okay.
You would say it, yeah.
Right. So a male will be like, bang, let's get some veggies in. Straight away. It's going to improve your sex drive. Bang, straight away. They'll eat as many veggies as you want. So if you understand the psychology of males, tell them that they'll eat more protein and they'll eat more veggies. Done. Yes, you're sorted. All right. So think the T plate. So for males, testosterone, think rabbit food. They can have sex like bunnies. And then females, think gravity. Bang, collagen. Loads of collagen in there. Perfect. So how many of you are going to be doing your kilo of veggies?
I'm very impressed by that.
Say that again, Bev.
My husband's very impressed by that.
Oh, look out, Bev. Here we go.
Oh, one question. The kilogram, is that raw or cooked? Raw, I presume.
Yeah, you can weigh it raw, but then cook it the way you want it. So there was that, like Bev asked the question about raw veggies the other week in terms of like thyroid health and all that stuff. It depends on a lot of things. It's so genetically driven. So I wouldn't worry too much about sort of raw veggies if you haven't got a thyroid issue. If you have a thyroid issue, I would look at it in terms of making sure you cook your veggies enough. There could be other things at play, but going back to, it was that Susan, I think, that commented then in terms of is it raw weight? Yeah. So yeah, I would, raw weight's fine, weigh it all out if you want to do it that way, and then just cook it up and then eat it the way you want. How many of you think you can get a kilo a day?
Good, because we're having a group target in tomorrow.
Yes, baby girl. It can be done. Like, honestly, it can be done. Like, if you come into my members group and you see Bev's posts every day, there's some form of beer glass, like Boddingtons and Guinness and stuff, and there's all this in there now is like smoothies. Brilliant. I swear she saw in a pub, she's got so many beer glasses and stuff. It's fantastic. It's like, it's amazing. I'm waiting for a Hofmeister one. Get a Hofmeister one going, Bev. That's old school. So we good? Any other questions or anything from there?
Yeah, I've got a few people waving their hand. Sinead?
I don't tend to count calories for my veg because I do eat a good bit with my dinner. I don't have potatoes. I just have like broccoli and peas and stuff with salmon or whatever. Yep. So I don't get hung up on calories. Is that okay? Wrong?
No, it's not wrong. Like, there's a couple of ways you could look at it. Like, some people like to count everything so they know exactly what's going in. But this is, if people don't want to count veggies, I don't mind that. But what am I going to do if things aren't going in the right direction? Then I would look at your starches and your fats, and I would probably pull calories from there first. I would, in my opinion, I would never take veggies away because we've just gone through how they help inflammation and oxidative stress so much. Like, the other ones don't do that well at it as well. Yeah. So I would definitely, don't worry about counting calories from veggies if that's the case. Then if things aren't going in the right direction, I would start taking a look at, okay, where are your other calories coming from? And we can start to tweak that. So that's all. Especially if you're counting those, then there's no issue.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions, guys? Anyone want to ask anything while they're here? No? Oh, Rachel, yeah, coming to you.
Only will my oranges count?
Oranges. Yeah, that's one of your fruit. That'll be one of your fruits, girl. That's okay.
Okay. I can't
So
wait
remember-
to make my orange.
So remember your order of priority though. So veggies is first priority, then berries, and then fruits. So fruits will be last. So that orange will come under fruits.
Okay.
Right. So if you want to, like, my wife does a juice. So my wife's, obviously some of you know, like, my wife's health has been under a thing this year. So I've looked heavily into estrogen metabolism. So the way estrogen goes. So she's doing a lot of veggies and fruits every day, like massively. We've had her hormones tested, all that stuff, and we've been able to really drive her estrogen metabolism in the right direction. But she would still use fruits. But if she uses an orange, she does like a great carrot and orange and ginger juice. And she adds in, like, it's fantastic. Like she made the other day, it was like, I like ginger, the flavor of ginger and stuff, but it was fantastic flavor. So she uses like half to a whole orange, but she puts ginger and carrot, and she puts some spinach and stuff in there afterwards as well, I think. But that's a nice little juice to use.
Thank you, love.
No problem.
Okay, anything else, guys? No, all good. Oh yeah, Sue. Go on. Oh, sorry. Oh, you have to unmute yourself. Try it again. Nope. Oh, let me unmute you, sorry.
Oh,
There you go.
one thing someone suggested to me as a good guideline for vegetables was anything grown below the ground was less kind of wasn't as productive as above the ground, because, you know, like if you're just trying to keep your carbs down and stuff. So like the green vegetables are above the ground, your potatoes are below the ground. So in a kind of a mental way, that was a good way to kind of look at your veg if you're trying to control your calories and carbs and stuff.
Yeah. So like, if you're looking at the calorie per gram and all that stuff, yes, cruciferous vegetables will be much lower calorie per gram than things that are grown underground, like potatoes and sweet potatoes and those things. But then you do have things like butternut squash, which per gram is still lower calorie than your potatoes and stuff. So if you're looking to introduce those things, I would start with butternut squash. I put a good recipe in my group of like, it was a while ago. I might post it back up. I might even cook it on a live. It's like a Thai chicken soup, and we put spinach in there as well. But there's only 5 ingredients. So I got it from Jamie Oliver's 5 ingredients book. It's possibly one of the best books I've bought in terms of cooking. It's just so simple. But you basically take a whole chicken, but you could obviously use chicken breast and all that stuff, and put in a slow cooker or a pan. You put your chicken in. You put a whole butternut squash, right? A whole one. So you cut it into cubes. You put it in. And you put a whole bunch of coriander in, and you put a tablespoon of Thai paste. What else am I missing? Chicken, butternut squash, Thai paste, coriander. There's one more. What am I missing? Lemongrass. Okay, lemongrass in there as well, I think. Maybe. I'll have to double check. I'll post the recipe up tomorrow. But basically, all you do is put all that in. You top it up with water. Put the lid on the pan or the slow cooker. Bang. Just leave it for like 2-3 hours. And it's done into a soup. It's the tastiest thing you will ever taste, low in carbohydrates, and it will keep you full for ages. So the butternut squash, especially when it's so we'll probably post up the Nutrition Made Simple manual. If you look at butternut squash compared to potato, it's much lower in calories and carbohydrates.
Yeah, well, butternut grown above the ground.
Yeah. Okay. So aim for your green cruciferous vegetables, more fibrous vegetables, and then save your starches and pastas and all that. And lentils as well. If you're looking at nutrient density, like lentils are great. So they'll have protein in their fiber, so they'll fill you up a little bit more than your potatoes and things. But they have more protein in there as well. So calorie-wise, lentils may be a good way to go first. So let's say, for example, I'm looking to cut some calories, or looking to help myself become satiated more. I may take out rice and I'll swap that for lentils. So straight away, my calorie consumption goes down, my satiety goes up, and my protein intake goes up. So it's looking at those simple little things. Okay, so you got more nutrients in there. So you could start with things like that. That's from a carbohydrate point of view. But make sure your green veggies are coming from cruciferous ones, yes, for sure. Now that'll make up your main bulk of it. So let's say, for example, you're looking at your kilo of veggies. I wouldn't count starches as your veggies. I would save that for later. So your veggies are coming from cruciferous vegetables. That's why some people need to start with blending them and making a smoothie, maybe. So it can be quite hard to consume all of those vegetables, especially if you're not used to eating that amount. It's a good question.
Cool. Right, I think, unless anyone else wants to speak now, I think that's pretty much yes. Or Josie, yeah. Go ahead, Josie.
I was just going to say, if you're looking for a lower sort of starch vegetable rather than potato, celeriac's quite a good one to have, because it's sort of quite a mild taste, and you can roast it and mash it and do what you like with it, and it's much lower in carbohydrate than potato.
Yeah,
but it's quite good with, like, you can make it into a mash to go on top of like a cottage pie, or you can roast it instead of potato. You can eat it raw, grated. It's a good one to have.
celeriac's great. So there's two ways I make celeriac. Is one, Charlotte probably love this. You bake it in the oven with cream. Oh, cream and milk with chili and garlic. Bang! Don't go with that one straight away if you're looking to cut calories. The two, you can chop it into cubes, and then you pan fry with thyme and a bit of garlic. Dear Lord, it's unbelievable. So either way of those is really tasty, and like Josie said, it's lower in calorie than your typical potato and those things. So it's getting used to using different foods and playing about with foods. That's why I wanted to do a few of the lives and show you how you can make veggies tasty. So peppers could be one of your cruciferous vegetables. So I'll show you how to make those tomorrow, nice and tasty. Josie's tried them. She raves about them. Charlotte, have you tried them yet? Give us a nod or a no. You have to.
Yeah.
She's tried them. Yeah. Any good?
Yeah, really good, actually. And you
There
can
we
just
go.
batch cook them as well, and then just chuck them in with other things like breakfast, lunches, dinners. It's good. Yeah.
Easy wins. So I'll live stream that tomorrow, and I'll probably be making a quick guacamole to make alongside it, because we'll probably have steak or chicken tomorrow with the salad and stuff. So don't watch the salad, Charlotte, you'll be all right. And then we'll just live stream that bit tomorrow. So tune in for 4:30. Any other questions, guys?
No.
Everybody good?
Wicked. Well, thanks for coming on and getting involved, Gav. Really appreciate that.
No worries. Pleasure. Anytime.
Sorry, sorry, go on.
You and Greg are doing an amazing job with it. I hope everybody's enjoying it. I know it's key. I've had some feedback off some of the members and stuff. They're saying it's really, really good. It's one of the highlights of the day, just tuning in and talking to other people and seeing the reactions. And because obviously being home all day is quite tough at the moment. So this is one way we can really help the members and stuff. So you're doing a great job. So well done. Really good.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Oh, sorry. Someone speak then.
Sorry, just say brilliant job so far. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. No problem, Lisa. And just, thanks guys for keep tuning in and keeping getting involved. So we'll keep that going for as long as you want it, basically. Or for the next 30 days minimum. And then we'll just keep trying to reinforce those habits. So thanks for tuning in. Great effort so far. New posts will be going out tomorrow. So following off what Gavin talked about tonight, that'll be a fruit challenge coming in tomorrow to just sort of top up the vegetable challenge today. And then we'll tune in tomorrow night to 7:30 for follow up on that. Okay. Wicked. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Have a good night, everyone. Good to see you all.
And
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.